All right, thanks for tuning in to Leading Forecast. Turning our eyes down towards the Gulf and the Caribbean here. Tropical Storm Isaac still spinning down there, and that's what we are watching here very closely, in fact. Let's go on over. This is the current infrared satellite, and you can see we did have a lot of convection going on down here yesterday. That has since died out, and we're starting to see more convection developing on the east side of this storm. So really not looking that impressive as far as on the IR satellite, and I think probably as it starts to move up this way, it will encounter Hispaniola, Haiti over towards Cuba, and probably is going to go through some dissipating stages here before it makes its way into the Gulf. Taking a look at the current water vapor imagery, and you can see here's our storm down here. We do have some pockets of dry air that are going to that the storm are currently encountering and could very well encounter into the future here, depending on exactly where this little kind of front trough moves off to up here. You can see here's one pocket of dry air, and the storm is actually encountering that. You can see the banding going on down here. Right now it's not actually working its way into the storm. However, it's never good, at least for the storm, to strengthen. It's never good to have that kind of dry air out ahead of it. And we do also have a much drier, larger, drier pocket working its way out with a trough that's dug in there, but we think that'll probably move off to the east before the hurricane starts to interact with it, or the tropical storm, excuse me, interacts with it too much. Going on over, this is the latest information here, and you can see we do have Tropical Storm Isaac sitting just south of Hispaniola. Max winds were at 50 knots with gusts at 60, and it was moving to the northwest here at 12 knots. And it's going to continue to do so, and it's going to turn and run right over Hispaniola. We do have tropical storm warnings in the green, and hurricane warnings right here along Haiti, and those tropical storm warnings up along Cuba as this thing does start to make its way to the northwest. Right now, let's take a look at the the jet stream forecast, and this is kind of what we're watching. Here's that first trough I was talking about digging in. We think this will probably work its way off to the east of the storm. It may help kind of turn the storm down here. It may help turn it more off to the northeast. It's just going to be, it's going to depend on how strong or how weak the storm is, or how strong this trough ends up becoming and how far east it is when the storm interacts with it. We also have another kind of little shortwave trough coming through the south portions of the United States, and it very well could interact with that as well. So we'll just have to wait and see how that plays out. Let's go on over to the forecast models. This is the Canadian model, and we'll zoom in a little bit on this. This makes impact bringing it right around the Miami area as a hurricane. And that impacts it early on Monday morning. I think we can probably kind of throw that model out. I'm not a big fan. But however, the CMC model showing much of the same thing, bringing this in as a weak hurricane or a strong tropical storm, or rain overspreading the Florida Peninsula here, and that bringing the landfall just north of Miami as well. Going on over another forecast model. This is bringing kind of a tropical storm, bringing it into the Pensacola-Mobile Bay area. Again, not one of my favorite models with the way it's handling this. This is the ECMWF. This is the ensemble model, bringing in as just kind of a weak system into the New Orleans area, and then we swing over to the same model except the operational model, and bringing in pretty much same location but a hurricane, a very strong storm there. As we can kind of, we'll zoom in a little bit and show you that, and it's this mess right here that we're looking at for that model. As we've gone over the NGP model, bringing it into the same track, maybe a little farther east here towards Mobile Bay or Pensacola, that's probably going to keep it at a weak hurricane or a strong tropical storm. And then moving it on over to the HWRF model, this is bringing it in right around the Destin area as a strong tropical storm. The GFDL model, this brings it impacting the Destin area as well. Potentially the places over towards Pensacola, Fort Walton Beach may see a weak Category 1 hurricane upon landfall if that one was to kind of play out. The GFS, this is bringing a tropical storm over towards the Miami area. North Beach, places like that would see some very heavy rains and some high winds, but again, not a major hurricane. As we go on over, then basically what it does is it kind of almost makes like an Andrew track and tracks across the South Peninsula, goes back out into the ocean and affects places east of Panama City up towards Tallahassee as a weak hurricane or a strong tropical storm. Now the big thing we're looking at here, this is the European model, which has been very, very consistent with this track. We did see it kind of bring the track out towards this area yesterday, but it has come back to the track that was in effect about 48 to 36 hours ago, where it's bringing it almost to the Mississippi-Alabama line over towards Mobile Bay as a pretty intense hurricane here. And so that's something we'll have to watch, and the Euro has been very consistent. If we go on over, this is the CMC model, I believe, or no, this is the Japanese, the JMA model. This bringing in a hurricane probably right over Panama City here as we get into about 8 p.m. Tuesday evening. Going on over to the Rapid Precision Mesoscale model, this is the 12-kilometer, and you can see as we get later on into the week, this is, or I'm sorry, 71 hours out, so we're several days out here. This is bringing it into the Gulf as a Category 1 storm, again, not making landfall. We'll just have to wait and see. This model run isn't going out, but it's a very accurate model, so we'll just have to wait and see how that plays out. We also do there's the JMA model. There's a better representation of it, and there's your impact zone there for that. So anyways, that's what we're looking at here. There's a lot of different features that are going to go into this. Here's the no gaps model, bringing it just south of Pensacola. This is as we get into late Tuesday, and so so really a lot of these models placing it somewhere along from, say, New Orleans, from about New Orleans here, somewhere over towards Tallahassee, and some of them even bringing it down here. The big thing is going to be where this trough ends up, where this trough pulls it out to, and if it gets picked up by that and turned more to the north and to the east than a lot of the models are indicating right now. So anyways, if you're down towards Florida, main impacts are going to be what it looks like. Some high winds, of course, with any of these tropical systems, but rain is going to be a huge, huge impact. In fact, we could be talking potentially feet of rain in some places, and so that's going to be very devastating as far as the flooding goes, and of course storm surge always a big concern down there as well. So we'll continue to keep you updated on this. As far as my thoughts, I'm thinking probably the Destin, Florida area is, that was my thoughts 48 hours ago, was Destin, Florida, somewhere between Pensacola and Panama City. So we'll just have to wait and see how this thing goes. I don't expect this to be a major hurricane, but there's so many variables still going on within just small details of the atmospheres as well as larger ones. So that's all we're going to do for today. We'll have updates as we go throughout the weekend and next week as well until this thing makes landfall. So thanks for tuning in. If you're down in the Gulf, keep an eye on Isaac.